Hey all, Toves here, playing some more Planet Zoo, and I am loving this game. I am so obsessed with it already. I haven't slept very much since the beta started. I have been mostly playing, mostly forgetting to record. But yeah, here's the second episode. That's following on from my previous episode about how to start franchises. And I'm going to go a bit further with that. I just wanted to kind of establish that my pattern has definitely proved to work. Just popped up my UI there, so down in the bottom corner you can see I am already at $1 million. I've got about 936 conservation credits. I haven't focused on that very much, but I am about to start working on that now, and I've got 1,000 people in the park, so that's pretty cool. So I'm just going to give you a little brief tour around my park so far, where I'm up to so far. And then I'll go back a step, back to where we left off the last episode, and do a little bit more of a guide. So I have just been working. There's loads of things I haven't finished in this park still. There's tons and tons and tons and tons. This is just a start. But I put this kind of monkey island in a little while ago, and you can see my monkeys hanging around up there. I'm actually just going to pause it because it's kind of easier to navigate around with them. The game's paused. I am getting some stuttering as well. I'm hoping that isn't from the detailing and stuff that I've done. I haven't looked very much at my FPS, but let's have a little fly around. So yeah, tons of detail work that I need to still do, but none of this bare ground I'm happy with. I built my first kind of real custom building in the game. So this is like a combination. Really, part of the beta, I guess, is, I mean, what we're supposed to be doing in the beta is testing to see how the game works. But for me, it's part of it is testing to see what you can do in it. So I built this kind of, yes, I guess it's like a guest facilities building. So yeah, really the test was to see if I could incorporate a habitat into a building that was like guest buildings. So I did this kind of upper level. This was another thing I wanted to see as well, was whether you can do these split levels and whether guests will go up. They will. So I have got a guest path up here. I think I could probably do more. I just noticed some people down there. You're not supposed to be down there. You're backstage, people. So yeah, this is my turtle enclosure, or one of my 2 turtle enclosures. This is the Galapagos turtles. More on the turtles in a little bit when we go back a step to starting the franchise. And yeah, another key thing of this game is definitely splitting up your pathing, getting your pathing right. I've sussed that out really early on, which is good. So this is backstage area, and this is a little they're trafficking through the park themselves, but behind the scenes. This is what I mean. You three are not supposed to be here. I mean, I appreciate your moustache. I mean, I generally appreciate the facial hair in general. Although I'm not sure about the skinny jeans. But yeah, you're not supposed to be back here, even with your enthusiasm full turtles. This was a little experiment to see whether I could use an architectural wall as part of a habitat. You can. What you have to do is you can actually bury the habitat walls inside. So there's actually inside this wall. I'm not sure why it's highlighted that one down there, but inside this habitat wall, you can see there is another one. Inside this architectural wall, you can see there's a habitat wall buried, which is kind of cool. So this is not what this episode is supposed to be for, but oh goodness me, a lot of traffic here. A little experiment to see whether you could go underground and how underground works. Underground is a little bit janky. I think it's got potential, but I just put some for staff facilities down here with a little access route out. Still getting my head around the camera and stuff, so apologies if this is a little bit clunky in places. What did I do next? And then I've got a big bear pit. I have some weird issues going on at the moment, which I think is just the game pathing issues, where staff members not coming to feed. They come in, they look at the animal, they don't feed the animal then starves to death, which is kind of weird. But then other habitats, it's working fine. So I have 2 wolf enclosures as well. This one with a little bit of water in it, and I have a female alpha. She's pregnant at the moment, so I separated her off. Anyway, so back to the gist of the video. Okay, so back to this stage. Back at the very, very early stages where we left it at the last episode. So yeah, all we have at the moment is these two exhibits, and as I talked about, I chose animals that were which had longevity. So I would build out from here. I would start off by getting more of these guys and do 2 or 3. I had 2 or 3 or 4 exhibits. Okay, so once I've got the exhibits, again, I'm choosing what the things to go in there are. So I could go again with more snakes, and I think actually in my previous run through I did go with more snakes, but in this case we're going to explore a different option. I've still got the game paused down here in the right hand side, you can see. So we're going to look at the spiders, and the reason why we're going to look at the spiders is because the spiders are one of the big virtues of the spiders. And if you're not using the Zoopedia, guys, then you need to make sure you're using the Zoopedia, because there is so much useful information in here. That's not what we want to look at. We want to look at the wandering spiders. So we're going to look at the wandering spiders because, again, I can get for 5. So that exhibit tank cost me $5,000, and in a spider, I can get 6. I can get 6 spiders in that one $5,000 valued exhibit. Whereas if obviously I get a boa constrictor, I can only get 2 in there. And the numbers of their appeal ratings don't seem to be kind of exponentially reflect that. So obviously if you think the total of having 2, I'm assuming this is how it works, the total of having 2 boa constrictors in there is still less than having 6 wandering spiders in there. The other beautiful thing about something like a spider is, although this is only really a short time investment, because once you get to the stage where I'm at in the big part where I just showed you, I'm not bothering with these little things at all. They take too much effort, basically. They need a lot of looking after long term, but in the short term, you buy these things and you let them live for 4 years, and then they've done their job. So the other beautiful virtue about the wandering spiders is not only the fact that can you have 6 in a tank, but they will all produce potentially every 11 months they'll produce something like 2 spiders. And it only takes every 12 months for them to produce 2 spiders. So in 4 years, you'll get whatever that multiplication is, do math. But the other beautiful thing is, unlike a lot of the other species, I'm pointing at the screen here, and this is really odd that I'm pointing at the screen because you can't see me. A lot of the other species are not polyandrous. I mean, polygamous is how you would say that in human language, but it means that basically they don't have an exclusivity of their mating. So if you put 6 spiders in a tank, that's 3 mating pairs. Well, all 3 of those pairs will breed with the other. So the males will breed with the females, but they'll also breed with the other females, if that makes any sense. They don't just choose a mate and stick with that mate, is what I'm trying to say. So it's actually quite easy to make lots of money out of selling the offsprings of these, and also expanding your community, because you're not paying again. You just buy these, then you spread them, and then you sell them. So they're an exponential way of growing your economy. So we're going to just get as many spiders as we can to fill our tanks. The difference between, if you're trying to choose, there's the other one. So the 2 choices, you've got a Brazilian wandering spider and the Goliath bird eater. So the Goliath bird eater, so it's a little bit of a balance here, because the Goliath bird eater, I think we're going to get both sets of these. The Brazilian wandering spider's life expectancy is only 4 years, and it's more productive in its 4 years because you can have 6 of them in a tank. But the bird-eating spider will last 15 years. And this is why this stuff's so fascinating. So actually, sorry, I'm jumping between these two guys, but it's really useful, and it would be really useful for them to build into the game some way of comparing the numbers and the stats and stuff, because doing what I'm doing here is quite difficult, especially when they're not in the same they're not in the same part of the UI. So these guys will reach sexual maturity within 1 year, whereas in actually you'll have to wait potentially a while if you're breeding up new spiders. Obviously you're not going to buy them from newborn, so they'll probably be able to do that from scratch. So we're going to actually combine the two, and it's just interesting to see. I will probably do some testing on this at some point in the future, what's actually the most cost efficient to buy. So let's go and have a look. So this is the market. So let's have a look at what we can get. So these guys are cheap, man. They're like $45 each, and you can sell the offspring for a reasonable price. So we still want to consider the whatever, I keep forgetting what that term is, but it's how interesting they are to the public, basically. So we've got this guy, 1875. He's not old enough to produce. I think we'll get a few of these. So we'll get that one, and we'll get the male as well, or a male. This would be a lot easier if they gave us the ability to filter. Oh, there's a good male. That's a very new male though. I think we will get that one though. No, we'll get that one. Right, so I think that's probably my lot for the Goliath. Obviously, if you're doing this from the start, you've got to look at the money and stuff, the cost of them. And it's just a balancing game, really, as to how much they cost versus how much they're going to return you in value. And they've done such a good job on this because there's so much to consider and so many different variables to weigh up. So I'm going to get... Don't forget, I can get 6. Or I can get... What can I get? I can get 5 females and 1 male. And then 1 male will mate with all of those females. So I'm going to do that. So that's 1 female. I'm not going to spend too long on this, but you would obviously spend a little bit of time checking all the stats out. So 2 females, 3 females, 4 females. Oh, that was probably a bad one to get. And I think we can get 1 more, if there's 1 more in here. Yeah, 1 more female. That one's got good fertility. Right, so we're going to put all of those into our tank, and then we're just going to wait and see. Right, so we are ready to go into warp speed. So all we've got is those 3 tanks. Still haven't done any of the things up here that it's asking me to do. We don't need a vet. We definitely don't need a quarantine. Don't need a workshop, and we don't need a research centre yet. So let's just go into, and right now, before I unpause the game, so this is going to take a bit of a hit because we've just spent some money. But we are getting, income-wise, 143592. So let's just go into speedy up mode. Right, we should see that immediately, yeah, it's starting to go in the right direction. 174878. Alright, so you could just leave it like this and let it go up. And if you left it like this for a while, you're just going to generate income. That is the key to this: is don't spend the money too quickly. But you've got only 22,000, so don't forget each one of these is 5,000. So that money disappears so quickly. And you can see them happily chucking their cash into my donation pots. That's already got I've just bought that one. It's got 430 in it. This one's already got 2,500. So we're just going to blitz this through to the point, I think we've got a couple more years in. So back in a sec. Okay, so this is the first point at which we need to do something. This is the point at which to buy our first mechanic. The only reason we need this mechanic is in order to repair this transformer that's been running. If I had been employing that mechanic the whole time, I would have been paying for him all the time. So now I just get a mechanic, I just drop him in, unpause, he fixes the thing, and that's it. We don't need him again, so we'll get rid of him now. A bit brutal, but off he goes. He's done his job. This is the starting days of a franchise, so things are a bit brutal. Again, this is telling me to do stuff I don't need to do. So we're going to speed on for a bit. Okay, so I think it's probably a reasonable place to stop it. So I've clicked on a bit further. I'm keeping an eye on the guest needs down here. So they generally they're very happy. They're happy. They're a big smiley face. My star rating is fairly low, obviously because I haven't really got very much in the park. But I've got 90 guests here, and I'm at £26,000 a year, or $26,000 in my bank account, making a good profit, 850, something like that. Most of that is not coming from my ticket sales, and there's very little on the board there that I could bother changing. So we're just going to look. We're just going to take a quick look at this person. So this person's just come through the barrier. Very useful to do that because you'll get an immediate recent thought is to do with the ticket price. So that is telling me that the ticket price is good. So we can probably increase the tickets a little bit. Now we're just going to squeeze this up. We're going to go $5. Actually, we'll go $6 and $4. And we'll leave it like that for a while. So at the moment I'm making, as you can see, $396. I'm only making $396 for my tickets. Whereas this guy, yeah, that's already taken 4,000. When did we click on that? Not that long ago. This one's already taken 2,000. So it's far, far more useful to worry about this, not to forget those donation boxes. As soon as you forget those donation boxes, you're killing yourself. Now we're just going to speed on a little bit further. And I think we'll bring you back when we're at the stage when we can probably start to think about our first animals. Okay, so we reached about 30 grand there. I'm pretty happy with that as an initial stage. We've got, they're not super happy, but they're okay. And if I just click on one of these guys, so the zoo is pretty small, but the adult ticket price is fair. So they are now ready for us to expand. They're saying the price is okay, but there needs to be a bit more. So perfect, we can start to do that. We've still got 96 guests. There's 100 people coming in looking at these three things. So let's give them something more. We're still paused. We're not doing anything more. I could let it run. We're making money all the time when I run it run, but I'm just going to pause it. So what we're going to do is we are just going to put down a very, very simple enclosure. And we're going to look at, in fact, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to talk a little bit about the animals. So I'm going to look in here, and again, we're talking about which animals we want to buy. We're going to go switch to cash listings only because we don't want to use any of our. Well, you won't have any at this stage. And then the decision I made based on, and there's a lot of different people with different opinions in the community so far, but the temptation is to go for what is the most appealing animal. So the most appealing animal in here at the moment is the mandrill, so that would be a reasonable one to go for. However, if I look at a mandrill in the Zoopedia, again I'm always in the Zoopedia, the good things about the mandrills are that they don't need a particularly big enclosure. So I'm on this second tab, 400 meter squares is not too bad. It's the right temperature for this area. They do need climb proof fencing. So if you haven't already got that, or I think you start in the franchise with that. You may not start in the actual full release with everything here. You may need to have done some research in order to get barriers. I suspect that will be the case. You can have a group, quite a large group of these. You can have 10. And what this slightly confusing wording here. In fact, it's actually pretty straightforward in this one. But the likeliest case is that you have like one alpha male, and then you have 10 females. If you have 2 males in there, 2 adult males, they'll fight. So you want to remove any males that come into that group. So they're not a bad one. The things that make them good are the fact that they live for a good amount of time, the fact that you can obviously get lots of offspring out of them, but these don't sell particularly well on the market. However, this is definitely a decent choice. That was the second animal I went for. The thing that I went for was as you saw in the zoo, in my zoo before, was the Galapagos giant tortoises, or the Aldabra giant tortoises. And again, the reason why I went for these is basically the fact that they live forever. They live for 119 years. So that these Aldabra ones will live 119 years. And look at they produce every 2 years after their 25th birthday, and they don't stop reproducing until they die. Well, a lot of other animals don't have that. If we go back to the mandrills, so they only have a fairly small, you're only getting 23 years approximately where they're breeding there. So yeah, definitely something to consider. And the tortoises, in terms of choosing the tortoises, they don't need a particularly big tank. They don't need a particularly big. They're actually quite high maintenance, but generally one keeper will do the job. Where are we going here? We're in a weird. I've gone into a weird menu. That's where I'm going. Talking and doing at the same time. Challenges of. So let's just have a look what we can get here. So you will have to come in and out of this. This I don't think is working particularly well at the moment in the beta. So you'll notice that as soon as I come back again, there's loads more options all of a sudden. This is all at the moment being populated by the servers and not by other people. So there's no other people's marketplace animals here. So then we can get for 228, we can get a mature tortoise ready to breed. Fertility is not amazing, so let's carry on looking. Now that might be the only one for now. You can do a filter on these. Yeah, he's the only one at the moment, or she's the only one at the moment. So we might just carry on. I think we'll just carry on looking, and we'll get to that stage where we've got some turtles in there. The tortoises, sorry. But don't go with a big tank. Don't do anything particularly extravagant, and you'll get there. And the franchise will be sustainable. It's already sustaining itself. If I left this for too much longer, they'll start to get bored, basically, and they'll start to drop out. So just a quick other couple of places you can make money. So it's not really clear from this stuff, but you can charge for the ATM. So you can put a charge on when they take money out, and you can charge for any foods. You can make money out of those. So giving them the chief beef and the gulpy soda and the loony balloons, all of those things you make money out of. But I'd say they're an investment at the moment. $2,000. Anyway, so I hope you found that useful, guys. Probably a little bit long-winded, but there's loads and loads of potential for this game to be amazing, and I'm so looking forward to playing more. And we've only got a short amount of time before the beta's finished and everybody has access to it. So I think that's probably going to conclude my kind of tutorial bits for now, although obviously if there are more that come up, I'll do them. I'm not sure whether I'll do more kind of tutorials on animals and things. But yeah, hope you found that useful. My name is Toves. Do appreciate you watching, and I hope to catch you next time. Take it easy.